All right, so a lot has been done to the car. 4-speed swap to the 5-speed. Bought the manual transmission for $50 from a Honda enthusiast. Big thanks to him. And took it for a test drive, and the 5-speed is in great condition. Um, shifts very, very smooth. No grinding, no popping out of the gears. Just nice and crisp. So I'm very happy with that. All the suspension has been done. New muffler, new tires, new brakes, still drums, but we'll do that later. It's still definitely an upgrade in the future, but as of right now, I think it's just more for aesthetic look. But you know, drum is fine. So it has a D15B1, so it's not like I'm making massive power to need disc brakes. But here's the Tanabe medallion, Torn S. Like I said, all the suspension has been done. New bushings, new control arms, new reseal on the engine because the engine was just caked in oil. It had massive oil leak. Just a little walk around. I am running the Hankook Ventus RS Force. Just gonna pop the hood and kind of show what's going on. Nothing special. Like I said, just a stock D15B1, and it's only temporary. It's not going to be a forever engine. I'm going to do a swap, but for now, we will run with what we have. Again, like I said, I did a complete resale. New cam seal, crank seal, rim main seal, oil, pan gasket. Converted from dew point to full point injection. And since the seatbelt did not work, we had to go with a roll bar with the 5-point harness. We're running race equip. I really wanted to keep the interior, but since the seatbelt didn't work, this was our next option.
Yeah.
Show you how the trunk cargo space looked like. I'm gonna leave this kind of dangling around. That way, if I have different passenger, we can adjust that. But there's the roll bar from Auto Power. I want to give a shout out and big thanks to my friend Montana Straight for this decal here. Very cool. If you need a decal, hit him up. Straight Design. So I wanted to do a project build with my son, and I was hoping he would continue on building the Miata with me. But he seemed to have a little bit more fascination towards the front wheel drive car, and the hunt began. So then originally it was not about Honda. My son was actually wanting to get a powered 4A GE car. And reason why he wanted a powered 4A GE car was because he was born on August the 6th. That's the day they celebrate the AE86. And as you guys know, and watch some of my videos, I used to own a 1985 AE86 coupe that I raised for 10 plus years until I sold it to my friend. And originally my son wanted another AE86, and I told my son that I would never ever get back into an AE86 car again or buy another one again. So then we started looking for AE82 FX16 GTS. And AE92 Corolla GTS. Coupe, because those were powered 4AG cars. Well, the GTS version. And eventually he started learning about suspension. He learned that the difference between McPherson strut and double wishbone. And then he became fascinated with the double wishbone suspension, and then was looking to get a front wheel drive with double wishbone suspension. Of course, the AE82 GTS and the AE92 Corolla GTS are McPherson strut. And my son also started learning about engines, so he became fascinated with Honda engine, VTEC, and that's when he changed his mind and wanted a Honda. Then of course at the same time we were also open for, you know, the A92 Coupe GTS or the A82 FX16 GTS. So it wasn't just Honda. We were open for the other cars. So then we started scrolling through Facebook Market. It was either an EF Civic or CRX or EG Civic. And as we were or been scrolling through Facebook Market, we came across some very nice CRX, some very nice Civic hatchback, whether if it was the EG type style or the EF. One thing that we did not want was moonroof, because apparently, you know, a lot of them tend to leak, and if a previous owner never took care of it, they will leak, or they just don't work, or rust, and I didn't want to deal with any of that. So we wanted one without moonroof, but without moonroof it'll be the non-SI version. And by getting that means that we'll have to accept that it'll come equipped with the 1.5 liter, which is totally fine. Then again, it's not a permanent engine. So we decided to look for the lower trim model. So by this point we have narrowed our options down to the Civic or the CRX, and that's when I came across this car. And again, we came across a lot of very nice and clean Civic and CRX But when we came across this one here, there was something about this car that kept gravitating me towards it. And I would move on to the next one. And then for some reason, there's something about this car that just kept gravitating me towards this car. I just kept looking at it. I kept thinking about it. So no matter how many Civic or CRX I looked at, there's something about this car that just kept screaming at me to save it. Like, I don't know, call me a weirdo, but just something about this car that had an energy that kept pulling me back to this car. Like, I don't know, like this car just wanted to be something. I felt like this car had it lived a rough life, and it just wanted to be something special. Wanted to be something. And then that's when I made the decision to make contact with the seller. And from just looking at the photo, I mean, I knew it was a rough car, interior, the scratches, the clear coat's peeling. Okay, I was definitely aware of that. You can see the color doesn't really match. Little dent right here. Paint faded, or the clear coat's coming off. Little rust. Molding still intact. Again, clear coat's fading. Chips. Clear coat's coming off. And the seller was very helpful. He tried giving as much information as he could. I believe he only owned the car for 2 years. I think he meant to do something with it, and then change his mind, or something came up, and put it on the market. So I told him that as long as the car was running and didn't have major issues like rust on the frame, or like big dents on the body that I couldn't do my own repairs, because I'm not a body person. I don't do body work. And then my sister and my brother-in-law went out to go take a look at it for me. So then they went, test drove the car. They said that they drove fine. Transmission was fine. There was no grinding. And I was aware that it was 4-speed. Again, it wasn't going to be permanent. It's just temporary. So then I shared this with my son. We both looked at it, and he liked it. He liked the car, liked how it looked, and said that there's a lot of potential. And then we decided to make the big move by buying this car, and then made a deal with the seller and arranged this vehicle to be picked up. My sister drove her back to her place, and then had a auto transporter scheduled and picked this up. And then came all the way from Stockton, California to Minnesota. And since it's been in my possession just fixing it and giving it all the new parts that it needed, it was just, I mean, a learning process, because I've never worked a lot of Hondas. I spent most of my years since I got into cars back in 1999 working on Toyotas, and of course now my Miata. And this is a car that I've always loved and have a soft spot in my heart since I got into cars back in 99. Even up until the year 2000, 2001, 2000, up until 2005, I always had a soft spot for these EF, but never bought it because I was into Toyotas at that time. And racing Toyotas at the track, these Hondas were my biggest rival. So buying a Honda at that time was not in my books. And now that I've branched off from Toyota brand, I'm very happy with this car, this brand. It's just a joy to drive this car. And this is a car that I would like to preserve and maybe one day restore it. But at this time, it's all about preserving this car. So I've only owned this car since last fall, early November 2024. And since I've owned it, I have spent a lot of hours and time working on this car on my days off. I work a 4-10 schedule, so I would devote every minute I had from Friday to Sunday, and also at the same time, dealing with trying to be a family guy. It's not an easy task, but I try to just preserve this car and bring it back to driving condition again, And this car, looks like it's lived through some dark times. I can tell from just the worn out parts that it has been neglected for a very long time. I pretty much went through the whole suspension. That suspension was just gone. And I might have mentioned that it was a fun experience, or it was fun working on this car, or just trying to build this car into something that I want. It's yes and no at the same time, because there was a lot of F-bombs and frustration at the same time while working on this car. But I think overall I've learned a lot working on this car. I've never spent this much time working on a Honda before, especially this type of car. that I have always had a soft spot for it. So I'm gonna do all that I can to take care of this car. Get everything I got. Same thing that I'm doing to my 1990 Mazda Miata. It's an old car, and I'm trying to preserve this car. And parts for these cars are becoming more and more scarce, and there's just not a lot of them left around anymore. This car will not win a beauty pageant. It is rough on the side, but not all of it is bad. It could be worse. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give all the love that I can to this car and continue working on it, building it, and I will try to upload as much track time, videos, and all the upgrades that I'm doing to this car. Well, I'm going to end this video right here, and thank you for stopping by and checking out the Civic that I'm trying to save here, and I will upload more videos in the future.